Remember we told you last week that if you like chewing gum, you're probably putting microplastics in your mouth. Researchers at UCLA tested nearly a dozen popular chewing gums. They found 1 gram of chewing gum released about 100 microplastics. Some released as many as 600 of those microplastics.
600.
Sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a lot. Our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is here now to give us a closer look at the study. One, did this surprise you? And would you recommend to your patients to quit chewing gum?
It really surprised me, and it's 647 per gram of gum, and a typical stick of gum has about 1.5 to 3 grams. So you're talking about a ton of microplastics, and I used to actually be a gum chewer. But
we were saying we were too, especially Alex.
Yes, because I love to blow bubbles and pop the gum.
Well, and it kind of
It's
freshens up your mouth and
Yeah,
what have
totally.
you. But after this kind of data, ladies, I have to say I'm going to tell my patients not to chew gum. And if you are going to chew gum, there's some precautions you can follow. But really, if you think about what goes into a piece of gum, that texture is not normal, right? It doesn't naturally occur in nature. So they used to make sticks of gum with natural bark, which has sort of a thicker consistency, sort of like gum. But now they're actually using petroleum-based products.
Yikes.
And we think that must be one of the sources of potential microplastic contamination. And then think about the wrapper as well. And you're chewing it, and the act of chewing it actually releases those microplastics from the gum. It dislodges them, and you end up swallowing them.
But I'm curious, what does that mean? Because you hear, oh my God, you're consuming microplastics.
Right.
Oh, you know, shocking. But like, what does it actually mean?
Well, we don't quite know yet. And so we think it might be hazardous to health based on animal models where we give them large amounts of microplastic. We know that the average human consumes tens to hundreds of thousands of microplastics on an annual basis because it's all around us. We know that it accumulates in organs, and we know that in people in whom they have more microplastics in their organs, they have worse outcomes. But is that because they're doing other bad things that are also causing bad outcomes, or is it because the microplastics themselves are damaging? We know it goes into the placenta, it goes into the testicles, it goes into our brain, it goes into our carotid arteries, all over the body. So the more we can minimize it until we know if they're health risks, the better.
Is it specifically the wrapping, the petroleum? Because I know that when I peruse like a Whole Foods, they have that natural gum. Is that better?
Which is terrible.
I know, I've tried it.
Me too.
I'll be honest.
It's not good.
I haven't tried it,
Okay.
but it was no different in the study. That they looked at.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my
natural
gosh.
gum and synthetic gum, and there were absolutely no differences. And what was interesting is the rate at which you release the microplastics. So you release them is usually within the first 8 minutes of chewing. And you released about 94% of them within 8 minutes. And it wasn't the saliva itself that caused the release, but it was actually the mechanical act of chewing up the gum. So the more you chew it. So what they did to make sure different people don't chew gum differently is they gave the same person different types of gum, had them chew it, collect their saliva samples, and then see how many microplastics got into the saliva. So if you are going to chew gum, here's some advice.
Oh.
I would say don't chew it at all, given this data.
Number one.
But if you're going to insist on doing it, then here's what you want to do. Try to make sure those wrappers are, paper wrappers, much less likely to be plastic or foil, because that might have more contamination. Second, you don't want to throw it out, because if it's not digesting inside your body, it's contaminating the environment as well. And third, because most of those plastics come out in the first 8 minutes, like I said, of chewing, don't keep popping new pieces. So chew the same piece longer.
Oh, I love to pop new pieces.
I know.
It's the fresh and
flavor.
juicy. That's right.
But that's the kicker. So if you want that chewing and that texture in your mouth, then try to stick with the same piece. But as much as you can, try to minimize it, because we don't know the health risks, and it's not great for your teeth either.
Okay, fair enough. We'll take it, Dr.
I
Kohli.
know.
What other thing
This-
we can't do?
I love it. Thank you, Dr. Kohli.